So I have made some updates. Part of it is the cleaner selection indicator. You also have the little animation. I don't remember if I included that in the last devlog, but it's just a little bit better than it was before. We also have the little the mouse. You can see the cursor doesn't show on the main screen. However, if I hit create building, you can see the cursor does stay, even if it's on the main screen, so it does stay in menus, and it does have cursor options, so you can see it now turns into a little hammer. I'll be using actual, like, more custom ones later, but for now I just have some placeholders. And on the placement, you can see there's these little spheres. We might give it a different shape in the future or something like that, but they are just the inputs and outputs of a building. And that's what I've been working on the most, has been the connections, and it's been interesting because you have to extrude meshes based on a 2D slice. So you have your smelter here. I might put another smelter here, just kind of in the way. And then over here, I'm going to put a conveyor. So the smelters have their open building and demolish, but conveyors have this, which is, these are just temporary buttons right now. I might end up having like symbols instead, so don't worry about it not matching. It's kind of overflowing, whatever, but it really doesn't matter right now. But if I hit connect, you can see you have your input and your output nodes lit up. And if I try to connect to this, for example, you can see the conveyor kind of follows. The end's all fucked up right here, but that's something that I can, it's not a huge deal, like compared to the issues I've been dealing with all day trying to get this working at all. Having this little end at the end be messed up is small potatoes or whatever. So if I highlight over here, you can see edge cannot pass through other buildings, and right now it says no destination node. However, if I connect here, it turns green, and when I click, it completes it. Now, if I were to delete this after placing that, this actually, the edge here, the node ID that is connected to becomes -1, which indicates disconnected. So it will work for like the automation and everything else. And additionally, you can delete the connections by hitting this and then clicking on the node. I'm going to have shaders and stuff later, but wasn't as important to get working as just getting the bloody thing working itself, the actual creation of the conveyor belts, because it's complicated to get the curve and everything else so that it like lines up nicely. So if I go to connect, for example, and I hit this node, you can see it curves kind of into the node. And because of the angle, now also notice that the input nodes are no longer available. You can only see output nodes. You can see the edge must be within 40 degrees of the opposite direction, which I'll give it a different text later, but this was good for debugging. But you can see it won't let you just go at a weird angle like this, because eventually this is just going to be this square is going to be like some kind of pole or something like that that holds it up. So it does need to be able to connect. And I'm not smart enough to do some crazy like the curve calculations to make it some tight curves and all that stuff. So instead, I'm making it just limit you on what you can do. So if I go here and I put the input the opposite direction, that's another bug. You can see it keeps the preview building when I just exit, but that should work. Oh, maybe it doesn't work. No destination node. Interesting. Oh, I can demolish that. If I create the building and let's just say a smelter and I put it there properly, put the output the other way, and then I try to connect, you can see it will actually let me connect it because it is kind of it's in line with itself. Probably have like a little brace or something over just to hide if there's a seam, but yeah. And you can see it's extruding from a 2D image. I gave it the image little kind of walls on the edge of the conveyor, and you can see that it is showing up. So we can make custom like 2D cross sections of our various conveyors, pipes, and whatever else. I'm assuming this will work well for the power too, which will be the steam pipe. Another thing is if I go here and I hit demolish, it will delete both sides. But I'm actually going to go even further. I'm going to demolish this building. And I'm going to create a new conveyor here. You can see when it goes through there. Oh, already occupied. I need to fix. That's something I'll need to fix apparently. Let me put a new building down then. If I try to connect this through here, you can see it cannot pass through terrain. So it does recognize terrain and everything else. Additionally, if I put let's demolish this and let's put a new one way up here, a conveyor, and then a way over here, smelter. Keep forgetting that I haven't fixed the where it spawns. It spawns on where you hit the confirm rather than where you clicked. If I go over here, it should. Oh, well, it's letting me do it. It's supposed to give it a length limit, so once it gets too long, it will prevent it as well, but apparently it's not checking for that. So that's another thing I do intend to have. And then finally, if I come here and I do a transport pipe instead, so the type is pipe. The type is pipe. And I tried to do that. You can see you cannot plug a pipe into a conveyor. So while it does show the nodes, just because it's going to show you the inputs and outputs of all the machines, it does not give you nodes that are, or it does not let you connect it if it's the wrong type. So this is I mean, it has the conveyor cross section right now, but all I'll need to do is make a circle, and that will be a pipe cross section, and then we'll have pipes. So this does work for all connections and everything else, and that will assign basically these guys here will become in total will become an edge. While I am calling each of the connections an edge, the entire thing will be considered an edge in automation. And what that means is, so for example, if I connect this to, let's just do this because it does let me do it for right now, or not. If I go here and I take that, god damn it. Definitely not polished yet, but it's a work in progress. So if I then take this and try to connect it, assuming part of it is just that I need to have it in the correct orientation. There we go. So this whole thing from here to here will be an edge. And I do plan on having it where you can have a conveyor belt. So if I place this here and another one here, I can just connect them directly. And what it's going to do is it's going to consider the entire travel of that as a quote unquote edge. And that edge will provide a rate of rate of how it can pass materials over. I might have it. I'd like to have it increase that rate or decrease the speed based on distance, but it will give you a rate. And so this whole thing in a production, this right here would be a node. Um, this right here would be another node, and then this, along with both its conveyors, would be an edge. And that way you can actually basically build a graph with these as the lines and these as the dots to do your whole calculation. Um, so it all is slowly coming together, and I'm holding off right now on that whole RTS thing until we have a chance to talk about it. But you can see that the actual management of the buildings and everything is coming along.